There are three SUVs sitting on used car lots right now that salespeople absolutely cannot give away, and every veteran mechanic I know is quietly buying them up for their own families. These aren't cheap, rusted-out project vehicles. These aren't good for the price compromises where you have to live with a broken air conditioner or a knocking engine. I'm talking about bulletproof, heavy-duty engineering marvels that will easily clear 300,000 miles with nothing more than routine oil changes and basic brake pads. Yet they are selling for thousands of dollars less than their market value because of one incredibly stupid reason: nobody actually knows they exist. After 22 years of turning wrenches and tearing down blown engines, I have watched countless everyday buyers completely drain their savings accounts overpaying for popular hyped-up crossovers. Meanwhile, these three absolute tanks just sit in the back row of local lots, waiting for someone smart enough to spot the value. In fact, SUV number one on this list has been my ultimate secret weapon recommendation for the last 5 years. I have personally steered dozens of my own shop customers into buying that exact vehicle. Do you want to know how many of them have come back to my garage with a catastrophic engine failure or a broken transmission? Not a single one. Today, we are breaking down the three most criminally underrated used SUVs on the market, the ones that deliver legendary, unkillable reliability at prices that will make you look like a financial genius. We are going deepest on my number one pick, because that is the vehicle that will completely rewrite the way you shop for a used car. Let's look under the hood. Let's kick off with number 3, a mid-size family hauler that professional mechanics absolutely love to see pull into their service bays. Now, don't get me wrong, we don't love it because it breaks down constantly and lines our pockets with repair labor. We love it because when it actually does need a basic wear and tear item replaced, the engineering is completely straightforward. The parts are cheap and the space under the hood is wide open. Right now, you can go out and buy this vehicle all day long for under $15,000. Let me paint a picture of how extreme this market blind spot is. Last year, I had a regular customer roll into my garage, a family man in his early 40s with 3 kids packed into the back seat. He came to me asking for a pre-purchase inspection on a used Ford Explorer he was about to sign papers for at a local dealership. It was a 2017 model with roughly 92,000 miles on the odometer, and the salesman wanted $18,500 for it. I put that vehicle up on the hoist, hooked up my diagnostic scanners, checked the service history, and looked at what major maintenance intervals were looming on the horizon. I lowered the lift, looked him straight in the eye, and told him the cold, hard truth. I said, "You are about to hand over $18,000 of your hard-earned dollars for a vehicle that is mathematically guaranteed to demand an additional $3,500 in major mechanical repairs within the next 18 months. Those highly stressed, twin-turbocharged EcoBoost power plants are notorious for severe internal water pump failures and cooling system issues that will cook the engine before you even notice the gauge climbing." Naturally, he panicked a bit and asked me what he should buy instead. I didn't even hesitate. I pulled out my phone right there on the shop floor, opened up a national classified car app, and pointed him toward a 2018 Kia Sorento SX equipped with the naturally aspirated V6 engine. It had only 58,000 original miles on it and was listed for just $14,200. Think about the reality of that comparison. He was looking at a vehicle with more actual horsepower, significantly better long-term reliability ratings, and it cost $4,300 less out of pocket. He took my advice, walked away from the Ford deal, and bought the Sorento. That was exactly 16 months ago. Do you want to guess what he has spent on unscheduled repairs since then? Exactly $112. That was for one routine oil change and a fresh cabin air filter that he swapped out himself in his own driveway. Here is the insider secret that traditional car salesmen will never tell you about the third generation. Kia Sorento built between 2016 and 2020. This is the exact era where the manufacturer completely figured out how to build an unkillable mechanical powertrain. The secret lies completely under the hood. The 3.3-liter Lambda 2 V6 engine inside these specific model years is legitimately a masterpiece of simple, durable engineering. Unlike almost everything else on the modern market, it is completely naturally aspirated. That means there are zero high-heat turbochargers waiting to crack, leak oil, or oil-starve your bearings. It also ditches the traditional rubber timing belt entirely, opting for a heavy-duty, high-tensile steel timing chain engineered to last for the entire operational life of the engine block itself. Furthermore, the transmission is a proper, traditional 8-speed automatic torque converter unit that Kia engineered in-house alongside Hyundai. They refined this specific design over millions of miles of real-world testing. This is crucial because it means they didn't gamble on those incredibly problematic, jerky dual-clutch transmissions or fragile continuously variable CVTs that so many other mainstream manufacturers forced onto their customers. It is a traditional system that shifts with buttery smoothness and stands up to years of severe family road trip abuse. And here is the subtle detail that should seal the deal for any cautious buyer: Kia's legendary factory warranty. Even when you are shopping the used market, if the vehicle is still within its 10-year or 100,000-mile window from the day it was originally sold new, you are still protected by a massive safety net. That is a level of long-term build confidence that you will almost never find from American or European manufacturers. Let's look at the cold numbers. The average market price for a clean 2018 Sorento V6 with fewer than 80,000 miles on it ranges from roughly $13,000 to $16,000. Now, if you look at a same-year Toyota Highlander with identical mileage, you are going to pay anywhere from $22,000 to $26,000. That is an eye-watering $8,000 to $10,000 difference for two vehicles that deliver comparable reliability. Let's look at maintenance math. If you ever actually manage to wear out the timing chain assembly on the Sorento V6, which is an incredibly rare occurrence, the repair bill in an independent shop is about $900. If you have to do that exact same internal repair on a Ford Explorer with the 3.5-liter EcoBoost engine, you are staring down an absolute minimum invoice of $1,800, and that is assuming the turbocharger seals haven't already failed. The beauty of the Sorento's V6 layout is its sheer mechanical accessibility. I can perform almost any standard mid-level engine repair or sensor replacement right here on the shop floor without ever having to unbolt the mounts and drop the entire engine frame. If you have ever tried to do basic maintenance on a luxury German crossover, you know that even a simple thermostat replacement can turn into an expensive nightmare. If you are actively shopping for one of these hidden gems right now, I want you to print out this specific mechanics inspection checklist before you go to the lot. First, pull the dipstick and verify the oil level and clarity. Be aware that the early 2.4-liter four-cylinder engines from 2011 to 2014 had well-documented manufacturing defects. But the robust V6 models are entirely clear of those issues. Stick exclusively to the V6. Second, you must thoroughly stress test the all-wheel drive system. Drive the vehicle to an open, empty asphalt parking lot. Turn the steering wheel completely to full lock in one direction and crawl forward slowly in a tight circle. If you feel any internal binding, shuddering, or heavy metallic clunking from the rear differential, walk away immediately. If it turns smoothly, the drivetrain is solid. Third, examine the digital infotainment screen closely. Some early production batches in this generation suffered from cosmetic touchscreen delamination, where the outer glass starts to separate. It isn't a mechanical failure that will leave you stranded, but it is incredibly annoying to live with and costs roughly $350 to replace out of pocket if it fails entirely. Fourth, climb all the way into the back and analyze the condition of the third row seating area. These are inherently family hauling vehicles. If the plastics are deeply gouged, the carpets are stained, and the seat belts are frayed, it tells you that the previous owners treated the entire car like a rolling war zone. That lack of care is usually a massive red flag for how they handled oil changes. The absolute bottom line on the Sorento is simple. You are getting a highly capable 3-row V6 powered family vehicle with a factory warranty profile that puts premium Japanese brands to absolute shame, all at a price tag that would make budget manufacturers blush. The only reason this vehicle is so incredibly cheap on the secondary market is because it it has a Kia badge on the hood. Buyers are still stuck in the mindset of 2005, thinking the brand is still making disposable economy cars. But if you think the Sorento is overlooked, this next SUV on our countdown might be the single most ignored. Highly reliable compact crossover in the entire United States. The level of steep market depreciation on these things is honestly an insult to how masterfully they are engineered. Let's move to number 2, the Mazda CX-5. This vehicle maintains some of the absolute lowest real-world repair and maintenance costs of any compact SUV traveling on public roads today. It tracks lower than the Honda CR-V, lower than the almighty Toyota RV4, yet its resale value drops on the used market like it is carrying a contagious disease. I've been tracking service data on these specific models for nearly a decade now. To be completely honest with you, every single time a second-generation Mazda CX-5 rolls into my garage for an appointment, I get slightly disappointed as a business owner. Why? Because there is almost never anything actually broken on them. They come in for a routine engine oil, fresh brake pads, new tires, and they leave. Just last month, I had a 2017 CX-5 pull into my bay with exactly 158,000 miles clocked on the odometer. The original owner had purchased it brand new, driven it daily for 8 long years, and wanted me to do an exhaustive top-to-bottom inspection to see what major life cycle components were due for replacement. I put the car up on the lift, pulled off the underbody panels, and went to work. I checked the entire suspension architecture, looked for fluid leaks around the axle seals, checked the transmission fluid quality, and scanned every onboard computer module for hidden fault codes. Do you want to know what I found wrong with it? Absolutely nothing. Even the factory-installed spark plug still had enough clean electrode gap left to keep firing cleanly. I literally handed her back the keys and told her to come back to see me in another 30,000 miles. She looked at me like I was completely making it up, but I get that exact same stunned reaction from used car buyers all the time when it comes to these vehicles. You see, Mazda did something incredibly brilliant when they redesigned the second generation, 110-5, starting back in the 2017 model year. While every other mainstream automotive manufacturer was frantically scrambling to add immense complexity to their vehicles, Mazda took a step back and focused on pure mechanical refinement. Their flagship SkyActiv-G 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engine completely rejects the modern trend of using small displacement turbochargers that run at scorching operating temperatures. They also completely avoided using those rubber band feeling continuously variable transmissions that slip, whine, and fail under stress. Instead, they utilized a heavy-duty internal timing chain engineered to outlast the vehicle's chassis, paired up with a traditional, rock-solid 6-speed automatic transmission that has been proven over a decade of continuous real-world fleet use. Now, if you want to nerd out on the engineering details that make this block so special, look at the compression ratio. Mazda engineered this naturally aspirated engine to run at an astonishing 13-to-1 static compression ratio. That is a higher compression level than you will find in many high-performance European sports cars. This design allows the engine to extract incredible fuel efficiency and thermal performance out of regular 87-octane gasoline without requiring the high-stress boost pressures of a turbocharger. The engine runs cleaner, breathes easier, and suffers far less internal piston wear over time. According to independent data from RepairPal, the CX-5 earns a phenomenal 4.5 out of 5.0 overall reliability rating. That is the highest score in its entire vehicle class. The real-world tracking data shows that its average annual maintenance and repair cost sits at just $447. Compare that to the standard compact SUV segment average of $573, or the broader automotive market average of $652 per year. That is thousands of dollars remaining in your pocket over a typical ownership lifecycle. Furthermore, the statistical probability of a CX-5 experiencing a major, catastrophic mechanical failure is a tiny 8%, compared to a 13% average for the rest of the compact crossover market. Yet, when you look at current used car market pricing, it will make you furious if you recently bought a vehicle from a more famous Japanese brand, a clean 2018 Mazda CX-5.